Day number 7 of Chicago Bears training camps in the books, and let's talk about what happened. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears training camp update video, which I'll be doing every single day of training camp this year. So subscribe to my channel if you guys want those daily updates. I was actually at practice myself today, had a lot of fun talking with you guys. I met a bunch of subscribers, I think 6 or 7 subscribers I had conversations with and took pictures with, which is always super cool for me, even to meet you guys, to put names and faces to the comments I see on my channel is always super cool. So I appreciate meeting all of you. Now, even though I had a lot of fun, the Bears completely screwed the fans over at practice today. Okay, Eberflus even apologized for what happened because the entire practice, okay, basically the entire practice, all of the drills, all of the 11-on-11, 1-on-1, 7-on-7, everything was held on the field opposite to the fans. Okay, we could not see anything, so they only practice on the field by the media, and the media has already been seeing them every single day. Like, the media already has so much access to these guys, and us fans can't get a day of access. Like, what the hell, man? I mean, I was super disappointed because I've been to so many practices in the past at Hallis Hall, and usually they do at least half of practice, at least like a fourth of practice near the fans, but they didn't do a single thing by the fans besides for Cairo Santos attempting field goals, a few small drills by the defensive backs, but that's literally the only thing that we saw the entire practice. Everything else was way on the other side, which you could barely see unless you had binoculars. I was actually talking to a subscriber, shout out to Mike, that flew over from Colorado to go to training camp. Okay, he flew all the way from there, flew his family out, and they were treated to that shit show of a practice. I mean, that's terrible by the Chicago Bears. I mean, to make the fan experience that bad. I mean, everybody still had fun, obviously, talking with each other, being in the atmosphere, but the Bears got to do better, man. That was really disappointing. But putting the rant aside, guys, talking about what actually happened in practice, according to the brief moments I saw all the way on the other side, and according to the media reporters that could actually see what was happening, the defense completely destroyed the Bears offense. Okay, it was a bad day by the Bears offense. Okay, I'm not going to sugarcoat things. The defense definitely was dominating the entire practice, aside from a few stretches where the offense made a handful of exciting plays. So, talking about the injuries, first of all, according to Brad Biggs, he said that Noah Sewell was back at practice. Kyler Gordon and Jacob Martin were not participating. One guy actually got injured in practice, though, and that was Nate Davis. Obviously, according to Chris Emma, he said that Nate Davis is considered day-to-day with a strain, and Ryan Bates actually played in place of him for a good portion of practice. So, yeah, man, at this point, it's hard to be optimistic about Nate Davis with how often he's missing practice for various reasons. I hope it's nothing major with him. Hopefully, he'll be starting week 1, but I can't put a lot of faith in Nate Davis long term. Okay, I think he will be cut at the end of this year unless he has a bounce back season, because he just keeps on finding ways to miss practice, man. Obviously, last year he missed practice due to a death in the family, which is totally understandable. Okay, I'm not going to criticize him for that, but he's been missing practice for a lot of other reasons too, this year due to injury, which, like, you got to stay on the football field. The best ability is availability, and Nate Davis cannot stay on the football field. He cannot practice, so that's disappointing, but all he can really do at this point is hope for the best. Good thing we did add 2 guys in Coleman Shelton and Ryan Bates that do have that guard versatility, especially Ryan Bates. He's played mostly guard, even more than center, right? So I do like that we have reinforcements here, to make up for Nate Davis potentially not playing this season, but they have really struggled at points in camp. Okay, both Coleman Shelton and Ryan Bates, I would say, have not looked the best so far in pads. Obviously, it's very, very early. We have to get a bigger sample size before taking anything away from that. And maybe it's just Javon Dexter, Andrew Billings completely wrecking shit in the middle. I mean, both those guys have had a lot of success so far in camp, so I don't want to take anything away from them, but I am a little bit concerned about the state of the Bears offensive line. Hopefully it can bounce back and become healthy and become a good unit in front of Caleb Williams. But talking about the plays made in practice today, so I want to begin by talking about the interceptions that every quarterback threw. Okay, both Caleb Williams and Tyson Bagent threw multiple interceptions, basically back-to-back, both of them. Okay, Caleb Williams, first of all, got picked off by Adrian Colbert in 7-on-7. He kind of forced that throw, and it was a good play by Colbert, obviously, and then the very next play, he threw another interception to Reddy Stewart, which is a phenomenal play by Reddy Stewart. I mean, this guy really did break on the ball, but another ball that Caleb probably wants back. And it's obviously not a good thing to throw back-to-back interceptions. It never is. But I do have to point out that there's been many instances in the past of very talented quarterbacks throwing a lot of picks during the rookie year training camp. Okay, Patrick Mahomes is one example where there were reports you guys can look up of him throwing a crazy amount of picks some days in practice. And obviously we saw how Patrick Mahomes turned out. And I'm not trying to say that Caleb is going to be Patrick Mahomes, but you can only react so much to training camp reports. Okay, the fact of the matter is that this is a young quarterback that has a lot to learn. And yes, he's not a star right now. Okay, he has a lot of learning and growing to do before becoming a star quarterback in this league, and it's going to be a process for sure. But anyone saying that Caleb is a bust because of a couple training camp interceptions needs to get their head checked and needs to stop watching football, because you clearly do not know what you are seeing. Okay, these things happen oftentimes in camp, and the Bears do have a damn good defense. Okay, I know that people don't want to hear that excuse. They want to see the offense still perform well, but the Bears had a top 10 defense down the stretch last year. That's a fact. They also led the NFL in interceptions last year, tied for the lead with the 49ers. That's a fact as well. Okay, this is a turnover forcing defense. Eberflus has really coached that into these defensive backs. So it's going to be a struggle for a lot of these quarterbacks to go up against a secondary, a defense this talented, let alone a rookie quarterback. And talking about Tyson Bagent, man, he also threw almost back-to-back picks. Okay, he got picked off by Micah Baskerville at first, and he got picked off again by I'm not sure who, because I was sitting so far away. Thank you, Chicago Bears, for putting me so far away from the action, but he did get picked twice. I did see that, and obviously not good throws by Tyson Bagent either. But as I've been mentioning, guys, it is only practice. You can only take so much away from these, and our defense is a damn good defense. So disappointing by the offense, but better to throw your picks in practice than the actual games. I also want to talk about how bad the Bears were in terms of penalties today. Okay, that was an area that was pretty cleaned up a couple practices ago, but they really regressed in that area today in practice. According to Zach Pearson, he said that he counted 5 false starts on the first team offense in the 11-on-11 drills. And even me sitting far away, I could see the flag going up multiple times. Okay, they were just not on the same page whatsoever up front, which is obviously not good. But again, it's early. Okay, you hope that they get these things cleaned up by the time week 1 starts. But the reality is that it's going to be a learning process. Okay, maybe the first month. Okay, we're going to see penalties. We're going to see issues with the cadence to some extent, because it's expected with a rookie quarterback. Okay, that's why I'm happy we have a good defense that can carry us in these games while our offense is still figuring shit out. And again, I know that nobody wants to hear that. Okay, we want our rookie quarterback to be special, a superstar right away, but that's just not how it works most times. Okay, maybe he could be special, maybe he could be CJ Stroud right away, but maybe it could take a little bit of time too. Maybe it could take a couple weeks. You never know. So, you know, I'm obviously not happy with the state of the offense right now, but it could be a different story hopefully in a few weeks. Also, according to Zach Pearson, he said that the Bears' first team offense cannot get it done in the 2-minute drill. Started at their own 30, down 24-17. Montez Sweat had what looked like a strip sack. Offense had a turnover on downs. Saw Austin Booker get reps out there and even kicked inside. Saw Gervon Dexter on the outside. Walker was inside on a rep too. So clearly changing guys around on the defensive line. I like that, you know, creativity by Matt Eberflus, because a lot of these guys do have the versatility to play inside and outside, especially a guy like Gervon Dexter that slimmed down a lot in the offseason, really took his offseason conditioning seriously, and he is in very good shape, so he could play some snaps at edge this year if he really wants to. And, you know, cool to see guys like even Austin Booker get some reps, you know, inside, which I don't think he really played there in college football. I could be wrong. I'd have to go back and check. But regardless, the Bears D-line won the battle against the Bears offensive line for the second straight day in pads, which is good for the Bears D-line, not so good for the Bears offensive line. But I also want to talk about the issues the Bears had with clocking the ball. So according to Adam Hogue, he said that one thing that has never changed about Matt Eberflus, the man cares about details, wasn't happy with the operation of clocking the ball to set up a field goal, made the ones go back and do it again. I love that out of Matt Eberflus, the fact that he did make the ones go back and do something again when they clearly failed at doing it. And again, it's not good that we're having so many issues with all these things, but rookie quarterback, young offense, a lot of new pieces, Rome Odunze, Gerald Everett, Keenan Allen. Okay, maybe it will take a few weeks to get fully up to speed, and hopefully we can get fully up to speed very soon. But I do want to switch over to talking about Montez Sweat apparently getting thrown out of a practice drill because he hit Caleb Williams. probably by accident, obviously, but according to Sean Hammond, he said that Matt Eberflus threw Montez Sweat out of one drill today for touching quarterback Caleb Williams. He's good enough to be able to stop and move away, so he's got to be disciplined in the future. And it seemed like Montez Sweat agreed with this. He was asked about that play, and he said he just got a little bit antsy, but knows he can't do that. It happened. It's not going to happen again. So I'm happy that Montez Sweat understood that, yeah, you can't hit the quarterback, okay? That's a big no-no in practice, okay? With quarterback injuries, you know, ruining seasons, you got to be careful about hitting the quarterback. And I'm happy that Matt Eberflus is also enforcing those rules. And he, you know, even threw out a talented guy like Montez Sweat for a drill just because he broke that rule. So good on Eberflus, you know, really enforcing that. Good on Montez Sweat for recognizing his mistake and, you know, try not to do that again in the future. Even though the offense had a pretty rough practice, there were a couple exciting plays that showed you the potential of this offense if it can begin firing on all cylinders. According to Zach Pearson, he said that TJ Edwards came through untouched on a blitz. Caleb Williams rolled out and delivered a really nice throw to Gerald Everett for about 15 yards on the run. And this was a phenomenal play, guys, by Caleb Williams. I mean, he lasered that ball in there with a lot of velocity, and he was on the run as well. So a pretty difficult throw to make. He made it because he's a very talented quarterback. Right after that, he had a good throw to Rome Odunze in space. Rome Odunze caught that and ran for a little bit. So they did have some successes. There were a couple plays where Caleb also just ran with the ball himself after not finding anybody really open or the offensive line not doing that well. There were a couple plays where Caleb kept the ball and ran pretty well with the football. Okay, this guy is a dual threat quarterback. Okay, he very easily could be one if he wanted to be. You know, I know he wants to mostly stay in the pocket and be a pass first quarterback, but I wouldn't be too surprised if there are a couple plays this year of Caleb running with the football himself for 30, 40, maybe even 50 yards. Okay, he does have pretty decent speed, not Justin Fields speed, but pretty good speed for a quarterback, and that's a pretty exciting aspect of his game as well. Sticking on the offense, I do want to talk about DeAndre Swift a little bit because we have not gotten too many reports about the running backs, but DeAndre Swift looked pretty decent catching the ball out of the backfield. I know that the offense had a pretty poor day for the most part, but DeAndre Swift made a handful of pretty exciting catches. One I'll put on the screen right now where he basically caught this one-handed, and I don't think Khalil Herbert or Roschon Johnson could make this play. Maybe Roschon could, you know, he's had a couple decent receiving plays, but Swift clearly is a big upgrade at the receiving running back spot. Okay, on third down, he is going to be very beneficial to have on the football field because he can be that pass catching option out of the backfield. So I know a lot of Bears fans were not the fondest of the DeAndre Swift signing, but I think it could work out for the Chicago Bears, okay, with what he brings to this Bears offense. And then lastly, I do want to end this video by talking about a pretty cool guest that we apparently had at practice this week. Nick Saban, the greatest college football coach of all time, was at practice this week giving advice to Matt Eberflus. So according to Courtney Cronin, she said that Matt Eberflus invited Nick Saban to Bears practice earlier in the week. Saban, who Eberflus coached under at Toledo, is a mentor of Eberflus. The two talked about working with quarterbacks. Eberflus picked his brain on working with Tua. Jalen Hurts at Alabama talked about leadership, family, and spent 30 minutes talking about coverages. That's really cool, okay? To get Nick freaking Saban in the building. I mean, clearly Matt Eberflus already has somewhat of a relationship with him, which is really cool, okay? To have a relationship with one of the greatest coaches in the history of the sport of football, you know, to pick his brain a little bit and kind of see what really worked for Saban in regards to coaching, what did not work that well, and just, you know, learn from one of the greatest coaches ever is a really cool opportunity for Matt Eberflus. I'm happy that he's not, you know, too good, too proud to learn from other people, especially a coach of the caliber of a Nick Saban. But leave your comments down below, guys. That's all for today's video. Obviously, not a good practice by the offense, but a great practice from the defense. I mean, I should probably talk about that side more, just hyping up the defense. I know we're, you know, mad and upset sometimes at the offense not doing well, but we should also be taking the opposite approach, the opposite viewpoint of that, and be like, really excited for the Bears defense, because I think we could have a top 10, maybe even top 5 defense if everything goes according to plan, if players live up to their potential this season, which is a really exciting thing. But leave your comments down below. I'll be back with another video maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure if they practice tomorrow, but if they do, I'll be back with a video tomorrow. As always, guys, bear down.